Jay here for Stretford Paddock. That's Joe Smith. This is Paddock Live. It's Paddock Live. We're back in business, my brother. Yes, it's
First
been too
time
long.
in a month.
Can you believe that, man? Honestly, I've missed you.
I love it.
I really have. And we've got loads of great stories to get through. And do you know what, right? We were going to talk about the takeover, not the takeover, INEOS's sort of takeover of everything at United, not just the footballing department. It looks like they're going, you know what, we're having a lot, mate. We're getting involved in the football, the commercial, the whole business model is under our umbrella. However, we will get to that slightly later. We want to talk a little bit about Jadon Sancho because he's just put in probably one of his best performances ever in the Champions League. So it's a hot topic. Before we'll get into it, let you guys tell us what you think about Jadon Sancho. And does it change anything? Does putting in a performance like he's just put in the Champions League semi-final against PSG, does that make anyone who might have been like, I wanted rid of him, but now after seeing that, I'm a bit more like, maybe he could still do a job for us? Or are you just bitter and angry like I'm a bit and like, why is he not still at United? Why did he do what he did? I'm not blaming the manager, but that's a different story. So we'll get into that. We'll also talk about what's been going down in Manchester United Football Club. Joseph, let's start with Jadon Sancho, right? Those people in the comments already. Hit that like button as well, please. We've been watching Dortmund versus PSG. Yeah. And I'm going to try and find some stats. Okay. In fact, right.
That's not a bad pun, actually.
Yeah, shut the Dortmund on your way out. So this is something from the Telegraph. This is from today. Yes. So while you read that out, I'm going to get some stats from tonight, if that's okay.
So we'll talk about what's gone on tonight before or after this. So Manchester United expect Jadon Sancho to leave the club this summer despite his revival at Borussia Dortmund. This is from the Telegraph today, as Jay mentioned. United are prepared to listen to offers to all but a clutch of their rising stars, but Sancho is among those off-limits, even though... is not among those off-limits, even though he's approaching the peak of his years of his career and showing good form during his loan in Germany. Dortmund's 6-month loan package agreed in January, bless you, does not include an option to buy Sancho.
Should have done that, shouldn't I? Do you remember that with Pogba?
Well, the dab.
Yeah, but it's sort of like...
2017.
Like, but it's like when COVID was thingy, sneezing that. It was like, you're going to sneeze, do that. I remember people like, oh, so dumb, was he getting involved in that football? I thought that's actually decent advice, like. Because you remember sneezing into your
But then you accidentally poke your nan's eye out with the other hand, don't you?
Yeah,
she's already got COVID, so she's struggling. In January, it does not include an option to buy Sancho, and the forward will be due to report back for pre-season training at United ahead of a pre-season fixture starting on July the 15th, don't care. He has 2 years left on his contract at Old Trafford, which could play a part in negotiations over a deal to leave United. Now, this was the report earlier in the day today. We have since seen... unquestionably, Jadon Sancho's best performance since signing that contract, since becoming a Manchester United player. What we saw against PSG tonight was easily his best game for Manchester United, but it's not for Manchester United, and that's the whole problem.
Statman Dave tweeted, Jadon Sancho completed 12 dribbles against PSG, the most he has ever managed in a single game in his career, more than any player has managed in the Champions League this season, and 7 more than his best ever total in a game for United. And Dave says, Borussia Dortmund Sancho, BVB Sancho, is back. I mean, listen, no matter what you think of Jadon Sancho, there's no denying, and we were just watching that game, he had a fantastic performance against PSG. He absolutely ran him ragged. He was picking out the right passes. He was skipping past his man constantly. It was
Mendes, the left back?
It was,
I think,
both mesmerising and infuriating for me just to see a player doing that. Because I'm not going to change the way I feel about how he's been at United. I've always said that Jadon Sancho at United, we've never seen that player that we saw at Dortmund before he arrived. We've seen little glimpses, but not really anything. Nothing like what we saw tonight, and certainly not nothing like that consistently. I'll get in some of the comments, let us know what you guys think. Aman says, Pep, Klopp and Arteta all had dips but recovered, but no United manager has done so. When it goes bad, it just goes shit. Brian Casey, good to see you. Member of the Academy for 15 months, says easy for him to perform like that in a Dortmund jersey that doesn't weigh as heavy as the United one. I think, that is a good point. Billy Simo has been a member of the Academy for 24 months. Thank you, Billy. Says, fellas, the only reason I'm happy Sancho put work in means we'll get some more money for him in the summer. No player is bigger than the club. And also, let's have a look what else is being said.
But so many dribbles, Jay. At what point, how many dribbles does he have to do in one game before he does become bigger than Man United? If he'd have done 70 dribbles tonight, are you saying he's bigger than United getting back?
I think you'd need 73.
73 dribbles.
73 dribbles. Then you can say I'm bigger than United. Happy one says, Haag is wrong, Sancho was right.
You very rarely hear him sans 10, do you?
No.
It's always Ten Hag.
Yeah, Haag.
Hag.
Can you get away with that, Haag?
Well, what does 10 mean? Is it like of or with or something?
I don't think you need that. You can just, because if you want to just use brevity, you can, for writing, you can just do ETH.
Yeah, that's true.
You don't.
But the problem with ETH is it's no faster to say than Erik Ten Hag. So it looks better written down.
Yeah, written down, I mean, like, obviously.
But if you're trying to shorten it verbally, you might have to go Hag. You know what I mean?
It means on, apparently.
See, that's what I'm saying. Because like Leonardo da Vinci means Leonardo from Vinci, basically.
I love him. He's such a good actor.
So if you're ever referring to him, you're not meant to say Da Vinci, you're meant to say Leonardo.
Meant to say, like, De Niro.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, or Pacino.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just Nero.
Nero.
No, of Nero.
Cafe Nero. Right, I'm glad we cleared that up.
I don't know anything, Jay. Just call him Ten Hag.
Hit that like button, please, people. Almost 1,000 people watching. We haven't even got to 100 likes. As Liz Truss said, that is a disgrace. Weetabix says, Sancho doesn't want to come back.
That's true.
Tough.
It's a fact.
He's on a contract. If we want to bring him back, we'll bring him back and make him eat packed lunch with the kids again.
Make him eat his words.
Yeah.
Just on Sancho then.
Yeah.
For me, all tonight has done is maybe add £5 million to what we'll get for him. Yeah. I don't see him coming back. Even with a new manager, I don't see him coming back.
Yeah.
What message do you think it sends from INEOS? Because we've heard rumours and reports that Sancho would be willing to potentially rekindle with a new manager. And maybe that's just his PR who have to say that, because if Dortmund don't want him, he is a United player next season. But do you think INEOS would allow the message to be sent that when a new manager comes in, all is forgiven? Or do you think they have to hold United to a higher standard and say, if you fell out with the manager at the time, even though he's gone now, we still trust his opinion, you're not coming back and taking the piss like that?
The latter, I think.
You think?
I think, yeah, I do. I feel that as well. There must have been some sort of conversation since, like, Sir Jim's come in about all this. I bet he's heard the sort of Erik Ten Hag's version of what's gone on, but backing him basically. I think he'd be like, okay, right, fair enough. So I don't know. To me, it feels like Sancho's done at United. Yeah. I don't see INEOS saying, and look, Sancho's had a very, very good game tonight. He has. I don't think since he's gone back to Dortmund, he's been amazing ever since he's got there.
No, this is by far his best game for them.
I'm not saying he's been bad since he got there. He's had some good games, but I think, like you say, this is by far his best game. Had he been like this every game since he got back there, you'd be like, oh my God, get him. That might be a different conversation. I feel like someone else has said, and you said, and people in the chat have said, it feels like it's just making it more likely that we'll get a bit of money for him, or a bit more money for him.
How much do you think we'll get for him? What do you think would be a good fee and a fair fee for him?
I think if we got 45 million for him.
That is the exact number that was in my head.
Is it?
Yeah, 45 million.
I think
I'd take that.
It's weird, isn't it? Because 45 million obviously is a lot of money, right? I'm not saying it isn't, but it's just almost psychologically, 45 million doesn't feel like ridiculous money, massive money, not anymore. But it also feels like that's a good chunk of money.
Yeah.
So it feels like it's a nice figure where Dortmund can go, look, we sold him for 73 million quid 3 years ago, and we've paid 45 million quid for a player who potentially has just got us into the Champions League final. United can go, look, we took a hit on him, but we still managed to recoup 45 million for a player that was done at the club. Yeah. So I feel like it's a nice sort of everyone says, a bit like Mason Mount. Wasn't his figure around that sort of number? 45 to 55. Yeah, depending. I think that with add-ons. Yeah, that felt like everyone could sort of claim they won that deal. Yeah. United can go, well, actually, we got a player Chelsea didn't want to sell, and we got him for a reasonable price. England international, 24 years old. Chelsea can go, look, he had 8 months left on his contract.
Don't rule it out at Chelsea. Yeah, Some of them have got that, haven't they?
Michael Mudryk in that. Yeah. He had 8 months.
You get less for murder.
Nice.
Classic.
Abhinav Verma says, thingy Sancho's been pretty average for Dortmund as well, but he doesn't get that coverage from the press, and only positive performances.
Yeah, but here's the
praised.
thing. Sorry, on one hand, that's annoying.
I'll go through some of the other chats as well.
On one hand, that's annoying because it's obviously a result of the press wanting to make United look bad. They want to go, didn't United F it up with Sancho? Weren't they stupid to loan him out? They should have turned it around. Ten Hag should have backed down. Look how brilliant he is. And it's bullshit. But on the other hand, those same stories push up the price, push up the price, push up the price. So I'll put up with the fact that it's basically just being used to troll United. for the fact that it might put an extra 5 or 10 million quid on his fee if the whole world begins to believe that Sancho has been world class every single game at Dortmund.
Akash Paul says, controversial opinion, I do feel Wilcox...
Does he? Who's?
Controversial opinion, I do feel Wilcox coming in gives
Oh,
Sancho a second chance, but could be wrong. It's perfectly okay to accept he's a Dortmund player, not Manchester United. Yeah, Wilcox probably know him from the City days.
Yeah.
Fucking hell. Is this what it's come to? Whitterbird, who's been a member of the Academy for 15 months, says the gang is back with J and J, all for it, lads.
Sorry, J and J?
J, well, she's put J, the letter, and J.
Oh, yeah, I'll take that. Yeah,
J and J, not J and J. She's not Kevin Campbell. Do you remember that? When he kept calling you J?
What?
Do you remember?
Who is Kevin?
Kevin Campbell when he had him on off the bar.
No, don't.
Do you remember?
Was that now someone else?
Yeah.
He kept calling me J to my face. And did I say anything?
No, and I had to call you Joe in front of him, make a point of doing it.
You did really well there, because
Right.
after that he caught on.
Yeah.
But for a while,
because I was literally like a translator. It's like Joe just said.
Yeah.
Joe,
Really,
who sat here.
Really hamming it up.
Yeah. Like, I agree with you, Joe. And then the penny dropped with him, and he said, "Oh yeah, it's not you, it's the other one." Right. Should we do a poll, Ethan? Yeah. Should Sancho return to United next season, or something that's more succinct? And we'll revisit that poll in a little while.
But yeah, undoubtedly great performance from Jadon Sancho tonight. I'm not too bitter or sad to admit that. I think he was excellent.
He was excellent.
He was.
And it's weird because I feel almost like I'm not watching a United player at all. I'll tell you who else played well tonight. And you're going to know what I'm going to say, so go on and say it.
Sigourney Weaver?
Sigourney Weaver. No, that's a very, very good guess, though. You've hit the post.
Marquinhos?
Marcel Sabitzer.
He did.
Yes.
He's a good player.
He is. We were talking about this upstairs. Weren't we? It's a shame he got injured because we saw a bit of it when he came in.
Yeah.
I think there was... Well, didn't he score twice against Sevilla?
I think so.
Yeah, he did, didn't he? He scored that brace in the Europa. And also, I think, was it Crystal Palace we came on, and straight away you're like, this guy's good. But then the referee, I remember the referee giving a foul against him, there was no foul, I was going berserk.
Yeah. He's only the player that Amrabat could have been.
That's mad, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's mad. It's mad how people got so excited for Amrabat and were relatively dismissive of Sabitzer. And you thought Sabitzer on a January move from Bayern Munich. That's a decent move, that, considering he got no dough.
Yeah.
And then Amrabat was like paying 10 million quid for a player that everyone thought was going to be the saviour of Manchester United Football Club, and he's not Premier League level.
And the thing with
unless he
Sabitzer
proves
is,
me wrong, and I hope he does.
I agreed that it just was never going to work out after he got that injury. Yeah. But he showed more than Amrabat has, for instance. And I think there was a player there. It's just that maybe we thought we can get Mount to do a lot of the same things, and we know that Mount's better overall. I don't know, but I feel like for the 12, 15 million quid it would have got to get Sabitzer, he would have been a pretty sound investment by comparison to who we got instead. But, let bygones be bygones, I suppose.
Yeah, 100%. Simon S says, why haven't United been linked to Guimaraes?
100 million quid, that's why.
Emojis.
100 million quid. Bloody hell. It's not worth that. I think even if Newcastle didn't have financial sanctions where they might have to sell Guimaraes, and he didn't even have a release clause, I think they'd still take 100 million for him. Do you know what I mean? I think, it's really shit, he's got 100 million. He's not worth 100 million. He's very good. He's a 60, 70, maybe 80 million pound midfielder.
Producer Ethan, you're
100 million. What are you, the most expensive midfielder in history?
Ethan,
other than Caicedo?
Should we get the expert opinion on? When you're not at the Etihad supporting City, you're a Newcastle fan. What do you think of Bruno Guimaraes? Do you like him? Class. Is he as good as Isaac Hayden? Is it Isaac Hayden?
Yeah. He's not worth 100 million though, is he? He is. He's not. You just want to sell him for 100 million. No, Newcastle fans will be over the bloody.
Do you know what I think? I was going to say Isaac Hayden with Bruno Guimaraes.
Yes.
I think him. I think Guimaraes. I think Oscar.
Isaac.
Alexander Isaac. I don't know. Nick Pope. Yeah, I know. That's who I was. Funnily enough, I was debating. I think Newcastle have got 3 potentially world-class players there. No, he's just shouted Trippier. I'm not having that one. No. He's good, but he's not world-class. And I think you've got those 3 players who are very, very, very good indeed.
Yes.
And you've got a few players who are decent, like Trippier, like maybe is it Longstaff who does a decent job for you. No.
Gordon's decent.
Joe Linton, sorry, yeah. Okay. What Murphy's any good? All right, you've got a few all right ones.
He's not as good as Ross Murphy.
You've got a few duffers. Dan Burn's not class.
Dan Burn.
Dan Burn isn't class. See, now you've just undermined any credibility you had. Anthony absolutely saw him inside out at Wembley. I've never rated him, but he's a Geordie and he does a little funny dance in the dressing room.
Yeah, get over yourself, man. Bloody hell. Right, should we move on? What's up next then? Jadon Sancho, get your thoughts in the comments. We'll come back to that poll in a few minutes. Where are we up to now with the poll?
We are... Mate, no one's feeling it, you know.
So
do you want Sancho back at United next season? Yes, 28%. No, 83%. Oh no, hang on a minute.
Well, that doesn't work.
No, 71%. Yes, 29%.
Over 110% of you have voted, and we're so happy to hear that. We need voter ID cards before people get on that poll.
Don't get started on that. Let's not go down that route.
Right, let's move on. Ratcliffe starts trek for success.
Has anyone ever told you got the look of a young Sir Jim Ratcliffe?
No,
yeah.
but in all honesty, I don't not see it a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't think I look like him. But if someone was to say I was his nephew, it's not a million. He doesn't look that different to my dad, actually.
There you go. You see, hey?
He doesn't look like my dad. But they could be like cousins or something.
Right.
Similar head shape.
Yeah.
The sort of the slightly distant eyes.
Yeah.
Large eye sort of thing. Long face. Dad?
Does your mum ever get sheepish when she's around him?
Does she do what?
Does she
She
start?
ain't got sheepish in years,
Does she go quiet when he's around?
She don't get sheepish.
Is it a bit awkward between
them? She ain't never got
when
sheepish,
Sir Jim Ratcliffe
mate.
says hello to your mum, do you not know it's a
You'll
little
be
bit,
sheepish in a
bit of an
minute.
atmosphere, a bit of a vibe?
Fuck off.
Does your dad get really angry and clench his fists?
No.
Right. I'm just asking a question. That's all.
Just hear all his teeth shatter in his mouth as he's biting down as hard as possible. Manchester United has made 2 further changes to his exec leadership. Okay.
Yeah.
By mutual consent. Yeah. Right. Patrick Stewart, interim chief exec officer, and Cliff Beattie, Chief Financial Officer, have decided to leave the club at the end of the season. Patrick will be replaced as CEO by Jean-Claude Blanc until the arrival of Omar Barada on 13 July. Cliff Beattie will be replaced as CFO by Roger Bell. Sir Jim Ratcliffe commented, "I would like to personally thank both Patrick and Cliff for their support in helping us get to know the club and making us feel welcome, and I respect their decisions to now move on." I love that. Respect their decisions to now move on as we establish a new management team for the club. Do you respect their decisions, Jay? Do you respect their decisions to move on, or do you think perhaps Patrick Stewart and Mr. Beattie,
Cliff Beattie, Warren Beattie,
were not going to make it past this season, whether they wanted to or not?
Yeah, it does feel a bit like, you know what I mean, thanks for coming, but you're gone.
Yeah, this is mumbo jumbo, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is flim flam.
This is proper the thick of it. Like, I've written you a very nice resignation letter.
Exactly. Just handed
I
that
put
to
some
them.
really nice things in that resignation letter, okay? Yeah, so just, you should be thanking me.
Yeah, don't make me take them out.
Yeah.
Because you will read what I give you to read. But forget who chose it or not. What do you make of this? And what do you make of what this sort of says about INEOS's control of Manchester United generally? Because almost sort of month by month, their scope seems to be broadening here, doesn't it?
This is what I said, right, when Sir Jim Ratcliffe was coming in. People have got to remember that he's clever. Yeah, he is. You don't come from Failsworth in a council house and become the richest man in Britain by being thick, right? The Glazers are thick. They inherited the club when Malcolm died. They didn't earn it. They're not like, oh, you got to give them credit because they're savvy business people. They're not. They're just spoilt brats who got given a football club. And he's just outmanoeuvred him. He has. And it's like, he was never going to dance to their tune. He just wasn't. And it's like, oh, just give me this little piece of the club and I'll spend 1.25 billion on it and I'll just do as I'm told by you lot. No. And he's obvious, like, the one smart move they might have done is actually listening to this guy, because he's probably going to say, look, if you let me run it all, then you'll make more money and the club can be better and the team can be better and everything can be better. And he's already started making these moves. And you could see it when he brought in Omar Barada and we had that statement And it's like, it was a joint decision between Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Joe Glazer. So you're telling me Sir Jim Ratcliffe has been in job 3 days, just happens to coincidentally have exactly the same idea as Joe Glazer, who's been there for 18 years, had. They just had it at the same time. Do you know what you commit? And they both said Omar Brada.
3, 2, 1, Brada. Oh my God.
Oh, mate.
Let's just do it now. Okay. Let's get a bottle of wine open. Why do I feel like we should have wine?
Ring him.
Yeah, ring him.
Out.
You dare.
Yeah.
You dare ring. FaceTime him. Put your shirt off. Put it back on.
Like, it's so dumb
so
to claim that. It's obvious he came in and went, we're going to get Omar Brada in. And they went, who? And he went, just fucking shut up. Shut up.
Who?
Alright, just fucking go away. I'm going to eat some crayons. So, this is all well and good. Ratcliffe's doing his thing. I've said all along, I didn't think this was just going to be Glazers 2.0. Sooner or later, this guy's going to own Manchester United.
Yeah.
Firmly believe that.
Yeah.
We spoke to Kieran Maguire 2.5 years ago, and he said the key to Ireland to Jim Ratcliffe is a United fan, he's Britain's richest man, he's coming for Chelsea, and it doesn't feel like a proper bid, it feels like it's a message to the Glazers. And it's everything he said in that interview has come to fruition.
Yeah.
So Jim Ratcliffe outmanoeuvred Sheikh Jassim, who may or may not exist. He's outmanoeuvring these Muppets, and I'm all for it, because I think whilst there's no perfect billionaire, and he's not perfect, I think he seems to know what he's doing, he seems to give a toss, and he's much, much better than the Glazer family. Yeah. So if he wants to get in all these people, great. I'm not going to pretend that I was, that's what gets me up in the morning, is like, have we brought in a new interim chief executive? I don't really, care that much about that, but I do care about the direction of the club, and he seems to know what he's doing.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, obviously, whoever you wanted to take over United, whether it was Sheikh Jassim or Ratcliffe or whatever, looking at what's happened since, I don't know anyone who isn't more optimistic about the future of Manchester United now than they were 12 months ago, or above the pitch.
Yeah.
The sort of the ownership and the direction of the club as a whole, rather than on the pitch under the current regime. I don't know anyone who isn't happier now than they were a few months ago in that regard. What they've done since they've come in has at least made sense. We don't know if they're all perfect. Berardi hasn't started. Ashworth is still on gardening leave. Wilcox has been in 2 weeks. We still need a head of recruitment. We don't know what Jean-Claude Blanc's going to be doing long term, etc., etc., etc. But at least it makes sense. At least people who you speak to, journalists, fans, mates, whatever, even fans of other clubs, crucially as well, is always a decent barometer, I think, are excited and worried, if you're an opposition fan, by what we're doing. That hasn't been the case at United for 20 years. Everything we've done has been either laughed at or shrugged at. Yeah. Now people are going, Newcastle fans, you're not going to get Ashworth. Oh, well, he's not that good anyway. Like, you're starting to hear those things. Berardi, well, he was never going to take over from Tiki Bagheera at City anyway, so, well, they thought he was 12 months ago. Yeah. Like, we're starting to hear this sort of revisionist defensiveness from opposition fans, which we haven't heard for so long. And I do think that, like you said, there's no perfect billionaire, there's no perfect owner, but a United fan who has got enough money to spend big on and off the pitch is about as perfect as you can pick, really, isn't it? Yeah. Like in the modern world of football, where you've got to be owned by someone who's got billions in the bank or you've got no chance, this situation is about as close as you're going to get. It's certainly better than I've seen at any other club.
I was going to say, can you name a Premier League club that is owned by a fan of that club, a genuine one, not one who's just said, oh, I've always been a Tottenham Hotspur fan, or just pretending because they bought the club. But
genuinely, no.
There isn't one. And that's not the be all and end all.
Maybe slightly lower down.
Yeah, no, but in the Premier League, I can't think of it. There might be one or two, don't get me wrong. But, a lot of Premier League owners aren't fans of the club. They want the club to do well for financial purposes. Then you've got, like, conglomerates or,
Liverpool. Or
like, what's the one like with Todd Burley? He's the head of a...
Yeah, not Clearwater.
What's the...
Clear Lake Capital?
Yeah, it's like a hedge fund or whatever.
Yeah.
So then you've got that situation. Then you've got the oil states that, like, Saudi and Abu Dhabi. So you're not going to get, like, a perfect scenario. But this is, like, I agree with you. I think there's very few clubs, if any, in the Premier League. There might be one or two who have got an owner who, has at least been to the club as a kid, watched it, watched the team, and seems to have the best interests of the club at heart. And let's not forget, so Jim Ratcliffe, he's 71 years old, he's worth 30 billion.
Yep.
He's not doing this just to make dough, right? There's easier and better ways for a billionaire, multi-billionaire to make money than buying Manchester United Football Club. You're going to have to burn a lot of money to get to a place where you're earning billions out of it. Yeah. And, he's not going to live forever. He might not even live to see that day when it comes. So this makes more sense to me that he's trying to build something, because let's face facts, right? He's Britain's richest man. He's done amazing things in the world of petrochemicals.
Don't act like you're not big in the petrochemicals
Do you know what I mean?
world. You have petrochemicals weekly. You always have done, Jay.
Other than that, other than my reading material, no one's going to give a fuck. All anyone's going to care about is what he did at United. Yeah. That's going to be his legacy. That's what he's going to be remembered for. Yeah. That's what's going to be, you know, in his obituary. It's going to be Manchester United, not INEOS. This is the key thing for him now. And fair play to him. He's doing the right thing. I'm still cautiously optimistic. We'll hold him to account and scrutinise. I'm not just going to go, oh, well, everything's rosy now. No, man, I'm not about that. But so far, so good. Let's get in some of the chat in the comments. Yep. Spence Jordan says, let Sancho come back in pre-season and let's see. Whitterbird gifted 5 Stretford Paddock memberships. Big thank you to Whitterbird for that. Andrew says, thoughts on potential Lewandowski for Greenwood swap deal?
No.
No?
Too old. Let's move on from people like Lewandowski.
I get you.
And Greenwood.
Yeah, I also think Greenwood's, you know, if you're going to sell him, which I think we will, you could get decent money for Greenwood. Probably in terms of like 40 million. 30, 40 million. Yeah. And like you can maybe invest that in a younger player who's going to be around for a long time. Lewandowski's one of them. We do this all the time where you go, oh, yeah, but it's Lewandowski though. Once he gets here, you're like, it's Lewandowski though. Well, what is
I'd be infuriated if we showed that we were still signing players like Lewandowski, who's past his best anyway, but also just age-wise, was he 34, 35 years old? That's just a ridiculous thing to do. Maybe if you finish level on goal difference with City to win the league and you lose, you go for someone like Lewandowski just to tip you over the edge. We're not in the Lewandowski wins us anything mood. We need another year or two with younger players who are hungry to win things, not one who's on the way down looking for a paycheck.
I agree. Harry says, Jay, it's morning in Australia and there's nothing I'd rather do to start my day than look at your beautiful bald head. Thank you, Harry. Enjoy the rest of your day. What? What's wrong with that?
Well, no, it's nothing he'd rather do.
Yeah.
I'm here, first of all.
Oh, yeah, I missed the comment. He says, Joe, I really like your hairy head as well.
Does he
and your beard.
Where's that?
No, you can't see it. You don't know her. She goes to a different school. Right.
What's next?
Go on.
Come on, hit us with it. It's good puns so far today, Ethan. It's not so Blanc and Ash, and he's fucked it, hasn't he? Because what does that mean?
Right, go on, explain
it's
yourself.
It's not so Blanc and Ash. Ooh, right. He might have brought me back here.
Go on.
So he means it, what it's meant is, it's not so black and white.
Right.
But Ash is black in French?
White. Blanc is white and Ash is black.
So
is Ash black in French?
So what's... Okay, so it's Ashworth and Blanc. Yeah. It's not so black and white, but he's gone Blanc and Ash.
Ash isn't always black, it can be grey.
It can be white.
Yeah, Ash can be white.
But you know what? 5 out of 10.
Really?
We're not getting any higher than that. But there's at least some thinking to it.
I think the Sloppy Joe's tax is coming in there.
Yeah, sometimes that will happen. Also, Ashworth from Newcastle, and they play in black and white. Does this sort of almost triple entendre of it all get you going at all, Jay? Because we're entering triple entendre territory at this point. You got the French, you got the black and white thing, you got the fact that his name's Ashworth, and you got the fact that Newcastle playing black and white. They might have pumped it up to a 5.5.
I think Jim Ratcliffe has that picture on his dating profile.
Yeah, definitely.
It does look like a dating profile pic for an elderly gentleman, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
So, I mean, my name's Jim. I like football. I keep myself fit. I do marathons.
Yeah.
And
so that's the gym bit covered.
Yeah.
And also, let's just put it this way: rat by name, rat by nature. Okay, up a drain pipe. Ratcliffe has ordered Manchester United's non-football staff back into their offices in Manchester and London. The initiative has been led by...
Does he think he is Jacob Rees-Mogg?
Yeah, exactly. The initiative has been led by INEOS and was trialled to staff members during a meeting on Wednesday. Oh, trailed, not trialled, I was going to say. All come in for the meeting. That trial went well. You're back in permanently. No, trailed to staff members during a meeting on Wednesday. These plans did receive some previous pushback from members of United's executive leadership. The news from Ratcliffe received mixed reviews, with some staff members energised by INEOS's desire to shake things up, while others will have their work-life balance inconvenienced by the diktat. Thoughts? You thought that was a Kit Kat that tasted like knobs, didn't you? And you bought a whole box of them. Ratcliffe delivered the message alongside INEOS Director of Sport Jean-Claude Blanc, with the 71-year-old Brit also telling staff that he's confident Dan Ashworth will soon be joining the club.
I did not buy a packet of Dick Tats.
Dick Tat Chunkies, they were called.
Kit Kat Chunkies, but like knobs. right? So let's just get that out there, right? That's a load of bollocks. He's made that up. He's lying. Right?
Thoughts on this? This is very much inner workings stuff, isn't it? This is as off the field as it gets. As far as
do you know what, right? The whole, like, this shit, like, you're not working from home anymore. You're not having free travel to the cup final. And I know people at work at United, and I've got very good friends and family members that work at United who have been affected detrimentally by this, but
have they?
I'm not that fussed about this kind of thing. I get it. It's like, you know, you're doing things differently. You know, there's dick tats and all that involved. Dick tats. Sound like a tattoo, you know? Yeah, dick tat.
I don't want to be vulgar or vile either. What I will say is this, to me, almost feels more like the new boss showing he's the boss.
Yeah.
It's all, I mean, obviously some of it you might lose out on, you know, a ticket price of 70 quid, assuming we ever get to a final. So, you know, whatever. Some of it is financially changing for people who work at the club, which obviously I don't love the idea of. But I think a lot of this, most of this, is almost more like, let's change how it feels to work at Manchester United. Let's change how it feels to be at Manchester United.
Yeah.
We want it to not just be some overlord change and everything's the same for us. I think they want it to feel like, almost like a sort of a kickstart for what Manchester United is going to be. Like, this is a bit of a kick up the arse for everyone's like, oh look, things are changing. My life is actually changing day by day because of INEOS, and things are going in a different direction now. Do you know what I mean? You could have easily had him come in, basically your life is the same unless you're the 25 players that play for Manchester United. Everyone just feels the difference now. And I think that's probably just a new manager, a new owner, new whatever, wanting to kind of stamp his authority on the club rather than really coming back in the office. It doesn't necessarily, like, I think research shows it doesn't even really improve productivity.
Yeah.
I think it's more just things are different, look what changes I'm making.
Yeah, and obviously it's not just bringing in the likes of Barada and Blanc and all that lot. You do need to change a lot at United. I think everyone's said that. Yeah. I'm not just saying, right, stopping people going to the cup final free that's the answer to all your problems. But there's probably a lot of things you need to look at. God, this doesn't make much sense. This isn't cost effective. This isn't helping productivity. This isn't improving it. This, you know, this isn't how we do things at INEOS, and we're not going to do it here. So I get it, and I think a lot of these moves will be scrutinised. There'll be pushed back on them. Anything that you change gets a bit of pushback. We know that, but like I said earlier, it's not the end of the world, and we'll wait and see what happens with it all. Is that any more for any more?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, let's go to our next story then. We've sort of covered this already. Rashford drives hard bargain. Ford drives weak.
Yeah, it's not the best, that.
It's not ideal, is it?
Rashford drives hard bargain. Yeah, it's you fax that one in, to be honest with you. It's not your better work. I'll give you a 6.
Yeah, if you could have got a model of Ford car in there as well, perhaps Escort, because there's the stuff going on there, or perhaps Mondeo isn't a word, is it? It doesn't really work out.
Rashford drives Escort, though, is a completely different story altogether, and one that will probably get us legally in trouble.
I don't mean it that kind of Escort.
He's done what?
I mean, he could be escorted to the exit or whatever. Do you know what I mean? I'm not saying not that. Okay, then a Ford Focus. Rashford drives Focus.
Yeah, nice, perfect.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Focus.
Not an Escort.
No.
Right, go on then.
Ford GT. Don't know how that works. Manchester United are prepared to listen to offers for the majority of their first team squad this summer. We've covered a little bit of this already on the podcast.
Yeah, we covered it on Monday, didn't we?
So, basically, the real update since this article came out for me, and I think we've got it as well that we can go straight to it, is the Bruno Fernandez quote. Have we got a graphic for Bruno Fernandez? Oh, we don't have a graphic for Bruno Fernandez. We can get, are you okay to get that, try and find that, Jay?
Yeah.
Because basically, I don't know if it was a direct response to that. Sorry if I didn't mention it, Ethan. But there was sort of, after this article came out, that United are willing to sell basically everyone except Mainu, Højlund and Garnacho. Bruno Fernandes came out and mentioned his future. And the sort of longer, we'll go through the quote.
Yeah, I've got a quote here for you.
Yeah, read the full thing.
If you want me to be very honest, I have to think about not continuing in the Premier League. It won't be till after the Euros because nothing will be able to take my focus away from the FA Cup final and the Euros, as there's nothing more important than that at the moment. There's a lot bigger interview.
Yeah, so that's the shorter version.
Well, that's the sort of the
juicy bit.
Yeah, that's the juicy bit. People are like, Bruno Fernandez could end up, leaving.
Thinking about leaving.
I don't think if you look at the full quote, he's really indicating that. He's just saying, look, I'm happy, but with any conversation or any discussion about anything else, it can come after the Euros. It would be a massive blow if we lost Bruno. And I couldn't even blame him, to be honest with you. I was thinking about this on the way home last night when this story dropped. I was thinking, like, he came in, 2019, he'll have done 5 years. He's been our best player since he's been here. I think he has been the best player in that Manchester United team ever since he arrived. Till even now, I think he's a contender for player of the season for us. So if he did decide, right, I'm going to go back to Italy, I know he's played there before, or I'm going to go to Portugal or whatever, I don't think you could begrudge him, really.
No.
I can't think you have to expect him to spend the rest of his career at United. I'd be obviously fuming if he went to another Premier League club, but I don't think he would. It's just a shame because of Bruno, a player the quality of Bruno should be playing Champions League football every season.
Yeah.
And he should be playing in the last days of Champions League, and it must grate him a little bit when he's away with Portugal and Bernardo Silva rocks up with all his medals. And he's like, oh yeah, if I keep my head down, we might make the Europa Conference. Fucking hell. But I digress. Yeah, listen, we spoke about this on Monday. Yeah. Several players up for sale. Marcus could be one of them. But look, sounds like the club are going to try and keep him. We've done a video on Marcus. We spoke about this on Monday. I think we can move on.
We've got a story about Ralph Rangnick up next, I believe. What we got?
Ralph Rangnick, trainer coach.
Rangnick's job from Tuchel. Interesting. This is sort of a double-headed story, this one. So on the one hand, you've got Rangnick, who's obviously former United coach, looking like he's going to get the Bayern Munich job in the summer. And on the other hand, the knock-on effect of that is Tuchel becoming available, one of the favourites to replace United. If you look at the bookies odds, replace Ten Hag at United. If you look at the bookies odds, negotiations between Bayern and Austria boss Ralph Rangnick are ongoing over him becoming their new manager. Bayern want Rangnick to replace current manager Thomas Tuchel, who will leave at the end of the season. Bayern CEO Jan Christian Dressen confirmed Tuchel would leave. We would all be happy together winning the Champions League, and then we go our separate ways. You have to assess the decision at the point in time it was made. It was a different situation. Bayern are not in discussions with any other manager, and a decision is expected to be made by the end of the week. So, looks like Ralph Rangnick is going to get the biggest job in terms of not interim of his career, like full time.
In football, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's probably the top 5 job in it.
Yeah, United, Real Madrid, Barcelona, Bayern Munich, and then City, Liverpool, and Juventus can fight for the rest.
Yeah.
One hand, I'm quite happy for Ralph Rangnick. I quite liked him. We were the worst I've ever seen us under him, but I don't really blame him for that. And I think a lot of what he said was fair and true, and I think he's a good manager. More interesting for me though is the Tuchel side, because there was some reports that he might be staying at Bayern, that they might have changed their mind, like Barca have done with Xavi. And I think that him becoming available, especially with, I know they aren't through, but they'd look decent in the first leg against Real Madrid. They could well go through. If he were to win the Champions League, there would be a huge clamour from a lot of United fans for him to be the next United manager.
100%, there would be. There would. You're right, because I think everyone would be like, 2-time Champions League winner, won trophies everywhere, he's gone. He's a good manager, there's no disputing that. He is, and he's that rare breed that, has had won the ultimate prize in Europe at 2 different clubs, and also, especially at Chelsea, an unfancied club as well. No one expected Chelsea to win the Champions League that season. No. They absolutely smashed it. And you could even argue this season if he does it with Bayern Munich. I know it's Bayern Munich and they're massive, and but they're miles away in the Bundesliga from where they need to be. They're probably the 4th best team in the competition, you could argue. So if he wins it with them, not now, I mean when it started, at the beginning of the competition. So again, that'd be a pretty big achievement. I don't know. I think out of the ones that are available, I want to see Erik ten Hag stay. If someone else comes in, then I like what you were saying about someone like Luis Enrique. But Thomas Tuchel, I don't think that's the worst idea if we get rid of Erik ten Hag. But I'd like Erik ten Hag to stay next season. Yeah. And cue the outrage in the comments.
Yeah, what people are saying.
Bothered with. If ten Hag leaves, says Justin Bieber, is Tuchel your favourite to replace him? I don't have a great candidate in mind, but I guess he's the best option I know of.
Yeah. I think we just said the same, really, didn't we?
Yeah, I think that is basically what I'm saying. Any more for any more? Should we whiz through? Is it Alvaro Fernandez?
One last one.
One last one.
We'll go. What we got? Eagle swoop for Fernandez. It's just eagle swoop. Is that the only? Yeah. Not trying to link it to the player at all. Just the eagle swoop. Yeah. Don't love it.
Eagles. Who are the Eagles? Benfica.
Yeah.
Is that their new name?
Yeah.
All right, fair enough.
Ben Feagles. Ben Fogel.
Ben Fogel. Ben Folds 5. Right.
Benfica are still planning to trigger the buy option clause for Alvaro Fernandez. There's a lot of text there, but essentially, it looks like United are going to get €6 million. The text on these is getting wildly out of control, by the way, Ethan. That's more than Jay wrote for his Masters.
It is.
You know what I mean?
It is.
We need to tighten that up.
Is that the whole story?
That's fucking 3 different stories put back to back.
That's like an Athletic article.
Yeah, it is. One of the big ones.
We sent Adam Crafton to South America to speak to Diego Maradona's
Carl Anka has been in a bunker
grandson.
for 6 months.
Yeah, it feels like...
that's too much text. Not that that article would be... I'd love to read that. He's €6 million for a person who's never really even touched the first team, really, has he, in terms of any meaningful way. It's not a lot of money, but I guess it's kind of what you'd expect.
Yeah, I think, fair enough. He's not on Tenag's radar, is he? We could have done with him. We didn't use him. He was happy to send him out on loan again for a reason. Let him go. He's got a wonderful head of hair. I wish him well.
Can I just say, actually, I think this is a little theory I have about football, and it's very basic. But do you know, in the sense that people always say, like, tall people earn more money throughout their life? And there are certain things that there's no reason for that to be true, but it is true.
Really?
Yeah, apparently, taller people tend to earn more money throughout their life than shorter people, just because of a load of different perceptions.
Tall privilege and that.
Yes, tall privilege. I think his hair is actually hurting his career.
Why?
Because it's got an air of gamer who cuts his hair, shaves it bald, and then just doesn't cut it for 3 years. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't have the style and the panache of a footballer. If he had it more tamed and sculpted, he could have got some more first team minutes.
He looks like he should be murdering people in No Country for Old Men.
Yeah,
that's what I'm getting from it.
He could be doing a lot more with that. He maybe put a headband on, make yourself, do you know what I mean, look a bit more Real Madrid. Because we got him from Real Madrid, didn't we?
Yeah.
And I feel like if he just looks like a nice kid who works really hard and is in the library and is studying, I think he needs to be a bit more bold and aggressive. Fellaini got where he was because of that head of hair. You know that, Jay. That's so true. He's just Thomas Souček with a wig.
A few people say Javier Bardem, says Mick Holohan, and Caleb Deertel says, Jay, that is a great movie. It is a great movie.
It is, actually.
Is this a great move? We'll have to wait and see.
He's done me there, Ethan. Pun of the night goes to Jay, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, Right, I'm going to leave it there. Mr. Smith,
thank you.
Always a pleasure, my brother.
No.
Make sure if you're not doing already, go and check out his video, Marcus Rashford. Hit that like, share, and subscribe button. We're going to be back tomorrow. It's going to be me, him, Howson, off the bar. Yes. So subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on that. I'll be back in the morning with the news. Going to be here live at 11:15. That's been Jill. No.
Jill?
That's not
Jill
true.
Scott, this isn't the overlap.
I've completely forgot where I was and who was speaking about them. That's been Joe Smith. I've been Jay Motti. This has been Paddock Live. Thanks for watching.